Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thomas the Tank here. Thank you so much for watching. The subscribe button right here. Doink, doink, doink. Click the button. Hit the bell. Hit the like. We're watching the best of Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson, easily one of my most favorite people on the planet as far as people, attitudes, the way that he carries himself, and the knowledge and beliefs that he holds. Let's get into it.
Why should your right to freedom of speech trump a trans person's right not to be offended?
Because in order to be able to think, you have to risk being offensive. I mean, look at the conversation we're having right now. You know, like you're certainly willing to risk offending me in the pursuit of truth. Why should you have the right to do that? It's been rather uncomfortable.
You've connected a lot with a lot of young men, lots of different...
That's true. Jordan Peterson, right, as always.
People, but young men particularly seem to, find something in your message. I'm a young man. I'd like to be improved, please.
Yeah.
I want to stop being a pathetic weasel.
Yeah, that would be good. Clean up your room. I don't know how you can go out and protest the structure of the entire economic system if you can't keep your room organized.
What are the limits of that idea, though? Because you can have a lovely clean room, but if for my generation, we're looking down the barrel of climate change, we can't afford a house, some people can't get work.
So I actually haven't seen this clip before. I've seen a lot of Jordan Peterson clips. I haven't seen this one. Can't afford a house. Listen, dude, you're presumably 22, maybe. Doesn't even have facial hair. You're a kid. Get out of here. You don't have to buy a house. And the thing is when your parents were growing up, they were working and saving every single penny and doing it together. Everybody in this current world and relationship culture and hookup culture and all this, that, and the other, everybody finds each other to be absolutely disposable and doesn't work together and doesn't lead to building together. Everybody is too focused on what do you have to offer, what do you bring to the table, instead of thinking about, well, what do I have to offer? Very little, but I like you. You have very little to offer. Let's do this together. That's what your parents did.
University education's unaffordable. Like, there are these huge...
That's true. I don't know why university education, it's probably the UK or Canada, I don't know why university education is unaffordable to you, because you're sitting in one. And by the way, you're wearing, what's that, a polo shirt and a suit and
massive,
presumably a decent watch.
It
looks like it's the same smartwatch that I have. Oh, and fitted pants. Look at that.
Political economy that are also going to, screw us over in the big picture that the clean room isn't going to necessarily fix.
If you're going to fix complicated problems, you have to learn how to fix simple problems first.
I want to know, what is your answer to young people for some of the really big problems facing humanity, like the climate catastrophe, like economic...
I like how everybody's always like, okay, I'm going to start a list. So first, say climate catastrophe. Okay, then we're going to talk about inequity, right? We're going to say inequity, right? And then, oh gosh, what can we say? Oh, homophobia. Like, it's just like go down, like what's the list? Homophobia, bigotry, racism, houses are too expensive, healthcare isn't free. It's always the same stuff.
Crisis, like the precarious job market, because they just don't, you talk all this much about individual responsibility. Most of us are never going to be able to afford to have all of these assets to have responsibility over. So what is your advice beyond banal comments like clean your room?
It's actually rather difficult to answer a question that ends with your comments are banal politely. I would consider that more of an opinionated personal and political statement than actually a question. So why don't you try reformulating that so that there's an actual question there.
A trans woman is a real woman.
I don't really like the way those questions are formulated. Now, I don't know what that means. What do you mean a real woman?
Yeah.
Well, I'm asking you, in your mind, it depends what you think a real woman is, but do you think a trans woman is a woman?
No.
Why not?
Because I think that women are capable, generally speaking, of having babies, and they have female genitalia, and they have an XX chromosome, and I think the biological markers are relevant.
Interested in people being able to have different choices and having equality of outcome.
Aha, well, so the overwhelming proportion of people who are in prisons are male. Now, do you want to equalize that, just out of curiosity? What about
I love this, the bricklayer argument.
bricklayers? They're 99% male. And we've got about 3/4 of the population now in universities in the humanities and social sciences are female.
Yeah.
Are we going to equalize that? And men work longer hours. They work more dangerous jobs. They're more likely to move. They're more likely to work outside. They're more likely to participate in jobs in the STEM fields that are scalable. They make more money for those reasons. And that's all hidden under the idea that the reason that men and women make different amounts of money is because of their gender.
Absolutely true. This whole pay gap thing is just so bonkers because there's all these dangerous jobs, right? Think about professional fishermen, right? You've seen, what's that one movie? Not Poseidon, The Perfect Storm, right? Where there's all these dudes on a ship where they can go overboard and they don't make it in the storm and this, that, and the other, and it's all this it's a survival movie, right? But you would never see a woman doing that, right? You could see a woman doing that. No one's going to stop a woman from trying to do that. But the thing is men going over the edge, overboard, going overseas for the military, truck driving, working in the oil field, right? I mean, those are all places where, OSHA exists for a reason, to stop men from dying, right? Men as in humans from dying in the workplace, but it's about men because men are the ones dying in the workplace. I think it's 90+% of men die. 90% of deaths in the workplace are men. So they're the one, us men, we're the ones taking these huge risks and thusly getting more reward for it. Sometimes other men are paying the price. So all the pay that goes away because of those men, we reap as a benefit, right? So, conventional fields where women go, nursing, teaching, things like that, it's low risk. All you got to do is go sit in a classroom and work your way through a book for both of those, right? So,
do you have any comments on the Nazi presence at your protest? The presence of Nazis and white supremacists assaulting people at your protest. Do you have any comment on that?
Yeah, I don't like Nazis.
So,
Well, that's highly debatable. That's highly debatable.
actually,
one
it's
of the things
absolutely true because there's never been a secular humanist government on the planet.
I don't know. I think the Soviets were pretty secular.
No,
humanists.
Then,
I know
with all due apologies, you do not know the first thing about what secular humanism is. You should read the Secular Humanist Manifesto.
I'm very glad I put you on the spot.
isn't he a college
very glad
professor?
I-
No, but you get my
Exercise my freedom of
point.
speech.
You get my point. It's you're doing what you should.
I
do,
love
which is
this
dig-
clip. I love this because in this debate, she literally says, you've got me there. You've got me.
A bit to see what the hell's going on.
So
And
do
that is
you-
what you should do. But
and
you're
you
exercising
think-
your freedom of speech to certainly risk offending me. And that's fine. I think more power to you as far as I'm concerned.
So you haven't sat there and I'm just trying to work that out.
Ha.
Ha, gotcha.
You have got me. You have got me. I'm trying to work that.
History. I've written the idea that women were oppressed throughout history is an appalling theory. They haven't had a great time, though, have they?
Who has had a great time in history?
But men have had less of a
Really?
shitty
Have
time.
they? Have
A lot
they?
of
By
the
what
time.
standard? By what standard?
Well, I'm just saying, if you're a woman,
How about
it
war?
But it took longer for women to get the vote, and women belong to their husbands. And in this country, one woman dies every week from domestic violence. A man dies once a month, I believe, from that same cause. Aren't there some clearly obvious things that women are victim of
There are
as a result of their
inequalities.
gender?
There are inequalities in the catastrophes that the genders are subject to. And so, look, first of all, there's some things we got to get straight. History is a rough business. Everybody had it rough. In 1895, the typical Westerner lived on less than $1 a day, which is absolute poverty by today's standards, right? And so people were brutally poor for almost the entire course of human history. It was rough. You say, well, did men or women have it worse? It's well, that's a complicated question. But one of the things you can say is everybody had it pretty damn bad. Mark?
That's the thing. Everybody just has these balances, right? No one's buying me drinks, but no one's chasing me down in the subway, right? Should women be afraid of men? No. Should women be smart? about their interactions with men that they don't know? Yes. Should men be smart about their interactions with men they don't know? Yes. With women they don't know? Specifically, yes. Right? Think about it. Women don't get accused of rape and then have that go away. No way. Absolutely not. Does that happen to men? Absolutely. And when these men go to jail or have their reputations ruined, just so the woman can be like, I don't really feel like finishing the police report. Like, that is bonkers. And the damage to reputation already done. You lose friends, family, time, sleep, money over all of that. It's just cyclical. Everybody has their privileges and everyone has their things that oppress them. Like, it's the same stuff over and over again. Same talking points. I feel bad for Jordan Peterson because he's literally just like mental gymnastics with the exact same point from a different angle every single time.
Marxists say, well, that wasn't real Marxism. What it really means, and I've thought about this for a long time, it's the most arrogant possible statement anyone could ever make. It means, if I would have been in Stalin's position, I would have ushered in the damn utopia instead of the genocidal massacres, because I understand the doctrine of Marxism and everything about me is good. It's like, well, think again, sunshine. I'm not suggesting in the least, and have never suggested, that there's no domain for social action. I'm suggesting that people who don't have their own houses in order should be very careful before they go about reorganizing the world, which happens in many ways. I see a backlash against men.
That's so true. You think about all these people who are out in the streets protesting, oh, well, people don't have this and people don't have that. But then, like, look at them, like, they don't have that either. You know, you go and protest, like, oh, Black Lives Matter and you know, black people are being shot in the street and killed by police officers, and how is that fair? Okay, cool, but, like, how are you going to ignore that the exact same streets, black people are being killed by other black people? Like, it's that exact same point where, why, you know, why is that happening? Why are you focusing on the one thing and then not looking at the other? It's just people making points, roundabout points about things that they want to change in their own life without taking responsibility for their own life and their own actions.
Masculinity, and a sense that there's something toxic about
but what is this idea of being
such.
why is society overly feminized?
Well, I didn't ever say that society was overly feminized. So if we're going to discuss my views, we should use my actual words.
Women got full legal rights.
They have the right to determine what language I use, especially when it's backed by punitive legislation. And when the words that are being required are the constructions, they're artificial constructions of people I regard as radical ideologues whose viewpoint I do not share.
Freedom to smash bigotry.
That's pure narcissism at work, by the way.
Are they spraying something?
Question for Professor Peterson. Why do you feel that someone's personal gender identity and pronouns infringes your free speech? Can one not also argue, based on your interpretation, that professors can use racial slurs in their classroom and that the inability to do so would violate their freedom of speech?
There's a difference between saying that there's something you can't say and saying that there are things that you have to say. And I regard these made-up pronouns, all of them, as the neologisms of radical PC authoritarians. Do you understand that? And I'm not a fan of that sort of person. And the reason I'm not a fan of that sort of person is because I've done my homework. I've read everything I can get my hands on in the development of authoritarian political systems, and I know the literature inside out and backwards. And I am not going to be a mouthpiece for language that I detest. And that's that.
The whole patriarchy thing, I think you have no idea how pernicious and dangerous it is.
Well, no, I don't. I really don't. Go.
Throughout history.
Oh, so that's just it then. Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. This is honestly, This is honestly something that I feel very passionate about. I don't think that anybody should be forced to say anything, and Jordan Peterson is someone that the world tried to cancel, and he said, you know what, no, I'm not going to be canceled, I'm not going to be stepped on, and I'm not going to be controlled, which is heavily something you would expect out of you know, an American, a patriot. I would expect that I would act that way myself, but I for sure have quite a bit to lose by being canceled, and I don't know that I would be able to survive that in the way that Jordan Peterson did. So I really appreciate you guys watching. Please let me know what you think about the comments, or please let me know what you think about this in the comments below, and I will try and respond to everything that I can. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure you subscribe for our next video.